Hey, have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When CJ and I were trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions. How do I record an episode? How do I get my show into all the apps that people like to listen to? How do I make money from my podcast? The answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use too. And now Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. We use Anchor because we live over an hour away and it brings us together as if we're in the same room. The sound quality is better than Skype and more reliable too. So if you've always wanted to start a podcast and make money doing so, go to anchor.fm/start. That's anchor.fm/start to join us and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. We can't wait to hear your podcast.
We will not be held responsible for any hearing impairments or damage caused to you from excessive exposure to this sound.
Hey CJ, remember that one time?
Oh yeah, it was fucking epic.
You're listening to
Remember That One Time,
the Inappropriate Storytime Podcast
with CJ,
and Chris.
and these are not your mama's fairy tales.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is Remember That One Time. And today we bring you Remember That One Time We Bought a House. Now, I don't know what the hell we were thinking. I guess it's because we were on the trajectory, if that's the word, right?
I think
Trajectory. Yeah.
so. Trajectory.
Yeah, sound it out. We were on that path that everyone hears that you have to do, like the American dream. You meet your high school sweetheart.
Okay,
you go to...
wait.
What?
We just
What?
throw this out there. We did not buy a house together.
Oh, yeah,
we are
no.
not each other's high school sweethearts.
Yeah, thanks for clarifying.
Because you were like, remember that one time we bought a house? Like
Okay,
one house. We,
separately.
not us. Yes.
We each bought a house. We were each equally stupid in that. No, we did not buy it together. Now, we did rent an apartment together while I was trying to sell my house.
Yes.
But before that had occurred, I bought a house and CJ bought a house as well, probably around the same. Well, no, it wasn't really around the same time. I bought mine in 2008, like right after actually, it was right before I got married because I wasn't allowed to spend the night in the house that I bought and paid for until I was married because my parents are puritanical.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Well, they were scared that I was going to have sex and sin. We can't have that.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. I could
Certainly
have.
can't have that.
No, I would have brought shame and dishonor upon the family. Don't want that. So I bought my house in 2008. Like I was saying, that we were on the path that get married. So, have a high school sweetheart, go to prom, graduate, get married, buy a house, put up a white picket fence, pop out a couple of kids, live happily ever after, right? So I had followed each step up until then. And so I bought a house and within a couple months got married. So buying this house and being engaged, I'm thinking, I'm going to live here forever. So I'm going to spend this ridiculous amount of money and have a 30-year mortgage, like tying myself for 30 years to this house. What the hell was I thinking? One, I wasn't even like thinking about tying myself down to the same person for 30 years already at that point.
You were just like, I guess I'll just get married, try this out.
Yeah, right.
See what happens.
It's not even tried out. This is what I'm supposed to do. Like I felt like I had no choice. Like there was no other doubt in my mind that there was another path to turn on to.
Yeah,
this is the path that's been ingrained in my psyche since I was born.
You're like this little Stepford robot.
Yeah, pretty much. And so bought the house. Now this house it was pretty nice actually. It was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. had a little bit less square footage than the apartment I'm in now. It was about 900 square foot. It was on about an acre and a half, which meant that I had to mow the lawn, which is some bullshit, and that's not what I'm about. Hence why I'm in an apartment now. But the worst thing about it was that we lived in the country about 5 minutes from the house I grew up in. And with that country comes absolute lack of modern conveniences whatsoever. So we had to drive like 35 minutes to a Walmart or any civilization for that matter. And then if you wanted internet, tough shit. Like you could
Like,
you could
you
get
can't even get HughesNet out there.
No, well, actually I tried HughesNet and it was slower than dial-up.
Oh my
It
God.
really was. And if like there was so much as a cloud in the sky, it would knock you off the internet. And you're like, what is the fucking point? Why am I paying like $89 a month for this bullshit?
Yeah, that's stupid. No.
Yeah, so I lived without internet for the first 25 years of my life, which like seems mind-numbingly crazy. But after having that house for, I think I had it for 4 years, we got divorced. And it pretty much, when it came to the house, it pretty much went like this. I don't want this house. Well, I don't want it either, asshole. Do something with it. It's pretty much how that went. So he moved out. First thing, he moved in with his parents. Like, I kicked him out of the house, basically. And he went away, and I was like, okay, our divorce agreement was that we were going to sell the house, which is what we did, but we took a really long roundabout way of doing it. So also in the divorce decree, we had to fix up the house in order to sell it. So I painted the walls and I made him replace every bit of the carpet in that entire house because that dog, he had a Chihuahua thing. It was like half Chihuahua and half wiener dog. And it spent its entire time in our possession pissing on that carpet. And once I got that all together, I had a real estate agent that had worked with us buying the house. And she only showed that house. I had it up on the market for over a year and a half, I think. She only showed it 3 times. Like it just sat empty the entire time. Nothing was happening to it whatsoever because my real estate agent was shitty at her job. And so I was like, well, it's on the market. I can't live here because it's completely empty and it's staged. But I have to have like a place to live. So me and CJ decided we were going to get together because she needed a place to live too. Why did you need the apartment? Was that when you divorced other
yeah.
asshat? You were in the
Yeah,
same
that
boat,
was-
right?
Yeah, I was going through my first divorce as well.
I like how you
got
said
divorced.
first, as in
Oh,
like you
yeah.
had more than one.
No.
That was my first divorce where
Okay,
I
my
got
only-
the yacht.
My only divorce. The one where I got to keep my dignity.
Right?
That's it. He got to
Dignity
keep the
in it.
motorcycle and I kept my dignity. So
I dig it. So yeah, she was going through the same thing as me. She needed a place to live because men are assholes.
yep.
So we decided, hey, let's get together and we're going to rent this place. So while I'm living with her, I am still trying to sell this house. And the mortgage company that I'm through is Wells Fargo. You may remember them from recently getting like sued their asses off by the government for making up fake loans for people. Like people didn't even ask to take out loans on these houses and they were just opening them up like crazy so that they could get like they could meet their quota and get bonuses. Yeah. Shitheads. Absolutely horrible company with horrible people that I don't know how they sleep at night. So I was dealing with them and I reached out to them to ask, how can I get this house sold as soon as possible? I can't afford it. I don't want it. Nobody is looking at it to even buy it. So what can I do? Can I work out something with you guys? So the guy I was working with, and for the life of me, I cannot remember his name. And if I could, I would use it a million times so that everybody listening could go band together and burn his house down. But I
He
can't
was
remember it.
terrible.
Yeah, he was absolutely horrible. And what had happened was that he told me, okay, well, we can do a loan modification, which will bring the payment down and it'll knock off some years on the loan. But in order to qualify, you have to be in serious delinquency. So I'm going to advise you to stop making payments on it. And when that happens, then you'll be in delinquency and then you can qualify for that loan modification and you'll be good to go. So I'm like, well, that sounds good because now I can stop paying that and I only have one rent to pay instead of a rent and a mortgage. So I did exactly as he advised. And during this whole time, while I'm trying to get that done, I would call him every like 3 or 4 days to check the status on this shit. And if he called me back, which is a huge if, he would always act like that was the very first time we'd ever spoke ever. He lost my paperwork. I don't know how many times. I had to redo paperwork, fax it over, and pray that it actually landed on someone's desk and not in the shredder, which, you know, with all of the legal problems that we found out just a couple years ago with Wells Fargo, that's another part of their lawsuit was purposefully losing paperwork so that people would so that they had a reason to what's it called, repossess the houses. They would
Right.
foreclose. That's it. They would foreclose
Yep.
the houses because every time they foreclosed, they got money out of it.
Mhm.
So they would specifically lose the paperwork so they could foreclose it. And that's what I got caught in. That's what they were trying to do. But luckily, I'm a stubborn bitch and I stayed on his ass at least once a week
I
until
mean,
I
we
eventually
actually like tried to find like where his office was, where he, because we were hoping like he had an office close by, and we would just like try to
yeah,
go
like a
there
State
and
Farm
see
agent
him.
or something.
Yeah, and see him in person. But I think it turns out he was in like Minnesota or something.
Yeah, it was something
But it
ridiculous like
got bad
that.
enough. We were like, I mean, we could drive there.
Yeah,
We could be there
I'm
by morning.
probably not Minnesota by morning unless we took a flight, but still I would happily take a road trip and do a snow barren wasteland to beat this guy's ass into signing some fucking paperwork. I'm down for that.
Right.
So, yeah, we finally got that figured out and I started making payments again, got back on my feet basically, and decided to get a better fucking real estate agent. And that was the real estate agent that was recommended to me by our CJ. She
Yes.
was fantastic and she actually got it sold within like 2 months of putting it up. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was
But
quick.
in between those times, we all know that I did the whole foster mom thing because I was like, my house is empty and I want to do good for the world, whatever kind of bullshit that I must have been.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's before I got my medication.
I was just about to say this was before you were medicated. I knew it.
Exactly. It was one of my bipolar hyperfixations that I go through. So luckily, I know now how to find out what that is and characterize it and nip it in the butt this time.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I mean, at least, I mean, as sucky as it is to say, like, at least you were sterile and you didn't have to, like, go through the whole thing, like, oh, I think I want a kid, and, like, actually go out and get knocked up and have one that you're stuck with forever.
yeah, no, fuck that.
Like, that would have been way worse than
Yeah.
having one that you can give back and be like, try again.
Yeah, I'm going to lose some listeners here, but it's never too late for an abortion,
Oh my
even after they're born.
Oh my God.
I'm just saying. Remember the thing we were talking about last episode? You just leave them on the street.
Yeah.
You know,
This
one
one's
wasn't.
weak.
Exactly.
Not
So,
viable.
exactly. I'm a horrible human. I don't care. So after the whole foster care fiasco, I decided that these payments were kind of shitty and I am trying to sell this house. So let me get a roommate. And I couldn't get CJ as a roommate this time because her stupid fucking husband moved in with her and, you know, they would moved on with their lives. So I'm like, well, fuck you guys. I'm going to find a new roommate. So I put an ad on Craigslist and I wish for the life of me I could find that email. because it was hysterical.
The ad was amazing.
It was. I actually had a guy reply and he was like, "Look, I'm not really looking for a place to live and I don't think we'd be a good match, but I fucking love your ad and you're a really cool person and maybe we can get some beer sometime." Like, this is how you
I
make friends
remember
and
that.
influence people. Exactly. So, I ended up with a roommate who just moved from a more southern state that we're in now. She came up to be, now get this is so cute and homespun and describes everybody in our area, but she fled the swamps to come up and be a music star. She wanted to be a country music singer. Gonna pack up and move to Nashville and put on my boots and I'm gonna stand on Broadway strumming my guitar and somebody's gonna see me and I'm gonna be on the Grand Ole Opry with Mark Chestnut. Yeah, just like everybody else in this city, they want to make it big.
Oh.
So I'm hoping that she has. I know she was going to our local college for music something, maybe music business or something. I don't know. So I really hope she, realized her dreams because at least that would be worth it, So it'd be
She was
nice.
cool.
She was really cool. She was a really cool chick. I knew of her orientation when she started with me, when she moved in. She
Did you
had
give her a place to live or a job?
no, a little bit of both. No, she stayed in her room most of the time. She cleaned up after herself. We hung out sometimes. We gave each other Christmas presents. Like,
Aw.
she did her thing, I did my thing. Now, her thing also consisted of her girlfriend coming and staying for 2 weeks when I thought it was going to be like 3 days. And she like burrowed herself into this girl's room and did not leave for 2 weeks.
I thought that was going somewhere else.
No. Oh no. I mean, okay, they did that too.
I thought you were. You know what I thought you were.
Yeah,
gonna
I
say.
know what you thought because I remember being on the phone with Ethan, my husband, telling him that he needed to talk louder because I couldn't hear anything over sex in the other room. I'm like, I'm happy for them. They sound really happy right now. But also, I need them to get their giant purple double-ended dildo out of my bathroom. I mean, also A+ for sterilizing it. Super clean.
Right.
Like, that's chill.
You're on the phone with Ethan. You're like, also, I'm gonna need you to do to me what they're doing to each other.
Exactly. And I'm pretty sure that the conversation did bring up asking his opinion on oral sex. Like, we were still just started dating. And so I'm sitting here listening to this and I'm like, that sounds good. I want some of that. I mean, I'm not going to jump in between the two because, I don't, they seem happy and whatever. Let them be them. But I did bring up to Ethan and he was like, I mean, as long as stuff's reciprocated, I don't give a shit. I'm like, that's the kind of attitude to have, bud. I dig it. Right. So, yeah, that was her. We're gonna call her Kat. So, Kat, and I don't remember her girlfriend's name, but they did get engaged right before she left and I sold the house. Sadly, I had to sit down and have the so my house is being sold and you need to find somewhere to live.
Oh,
Yeah, it was really sad. At least she wasn't like, well, fuck you and, mad at me for it.
yeah, I'm gonna burn your house down.
Exactly.
Well, she kind of knew what was up from the beginning. She knew
Yeah.
it was for sale when she moved in.
Right, exactly.
She knew what was up.
Yeah, she just needed a place like really quick because she just literally moved from the state into this
Yeah.
state. She's like, the classic move to another state to be a country singer story.
Right.
I mean, like the beginning of Rock of Ages. That's what it was.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
more power to her. And then, my story pretty much wraps up with the fact that my house was sold. Well, we've come to the spot where I need to talk to you about our social media accounts. YouTube, about that. So we have our one special Halloween special. I attempted to do a special Thanksgiving special, but everybody that was at our Friendsgiving are sticks in the mud that think that the government is spying on them. So
Ben.
Ben. So that didn't really work. Like we had the intro that was super cute. Then we went around asking people about what they were thankful for. And it literally lasted like one person before I had everybody else going, I don't know, this is stupid. Get the camera out of my face. Don't use my name or my likeness. And I'm like, your likeness? I'm not drawing a picture of you. This
What the
isn't like a
hell?
police sketch. What the hell? So,
So
yeah.
clearly, out of our friend group, we're the best. So you're really not
Exactly.
missing anything. This is the best we got to offer.
Yeah, that's exactly it. This is the creme de la creme. This is it.
Right.
Exactly. So don't expect any of our friends as special guests unless they specifically ask, hey, I've got a really badass story to tell. Let's collaborate.
Collaborate.
Let's collaborate. Is that, yeah.
Collaborate. Yes.
Yeah. Let's collaborate and, do something. Be
Yeah.
friends. So that may happen, may not. I don't know. It's not happening right now, and it makes me sad. People are losers.
Fuck them. Who needs them?
Yeah. Exactly. And if you do have a great story that you either want us to tell or want to try to be featured somehow, you can shoot us an email at the number 2 girls, the number 1 terriblepodcast@gmail.com. So that is 2 girls, 1 terriblepodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook. Just search Remember That One Time, and you can click on our email link there. There you can also find the link to our website, which is Chris, so KRIS 10, M as in Mary, J as in Joy, 87.wixsite.com/remember that one time. Of course, you're not going to remember that, so just head to our Facebook page and you can hit it from there. I'm considering maybe making an Instagram page as well. I think we might be on Twitter. I don't know. I'm just trying to spread us, spread us out
Wow.
like peanut butter, I guess. I don't know. Peanut butter is the sexiest thing I could think of. That tells you how hungry I am today.
Wow.
Yes.
Dang.
So that is who we are and where you can find us. And apart from the home that she lives in now, about 5 years ago, where could you find CJ?
So, after we were done with the awesome apartment, me and husband Chris bought our first house together it was about 4 years ago.
Whoop, whoop.
And I mean, it was pretty uneventful buying the house and living there the first couple of years. We did have, I came home from work one day and I checked the mail and I found this lovely letter that said that our homeowner's insurance was going to drop us if we didn't replace the roof because there was some, like, I don't know, I never even noticed it before, but if you looked at the house, there was just this very slight dip on the right side and they're like, boom, you need a new roof. And I was like, first of all, you're trying to tell me that you have come out here without telling me and inspected my house. You crawled around on my roof without even telling me you were here. Like, that's a great way to get shot.
How does somebody get on the roof without you knowing?
I don't know, but they were like,
in the middle
upon
of the night?
inspection, we have noticed that blah, blah, blah. And I was like, upon inspection, nobody, and I called them. I was like, nobody has come out here to inspect. And she was like, oh yeah, it's not something that we schedule. We just come by and do it. And I'm like, excuse me? You do what? I guess it wouldn't be, if I was the person doing it, I guess I wouldn't be so scared in doing it at our house because we're like right on the road. But what about like houses that are way like, a 2-mile driveway and they're way back in the sticks and you're going to go out there and poke around on somebody's roof without telling them? Like, you're going to die. Someone's going to shoot you. So anyways, so we had a new roof put on while we were out of town, and a really bad storm came through during that and blew the tarp off the house. It rained in our house and it destroyed the entire house.
Rained in the house is an understatement. It monsooned in your house.
It monsooned in the house and we lost pretty much everything. I mean, like there was a couple of big pieces of furniture that we lost, and electronics and things like that. But I mean, thankfully, like the like photo albums and meaningful stuff wasn't lost, so that was good.
How
But
did the pets fare?
I really don't know. I mean, like I said, we were out of town when it happened. My brother went over there. We had left the night before or the afternoon before, and he went over there that morning to let the dog out and feed everybody. And he calls me, and we were going to Michigan, so we had just gotten there. Like, we pulled in my cousin's driveway at like 6 a.m. And then my phone rings at like 6:30, and he's like, there's something wrong with your house. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, well, your roof is like
Gone.
your ceiling is like mushy and it's in the floor.
Oh God.
That's what
You never want to hear that any part
That's
of your
what-
house is mushy.
and in the floor.
Mhm.
And so and we were really excited to be on vacation, and my cousin is like, she loves to have a good time, so she greeted us when we pulled in the driveway. She greeted us with Jaeger bombs at like 6 a.m. So I was already like, I mean, I know it was 6:30 in the morning, but I was already feeling really good. And she has a pond in her backyard, and we were in the backyard in the pond in the middle, like on a paddle boat, drinking Jaeger out of the
Nice.
bottle. And I was just like, and he calls me and tells me this. And so like
Way
my
to kill the
buzz-
mood, buzzkill.
Yeah, my buzz went straight down the toilet. So anyways, long story short, we had to move in with Chris's mom for like 5 months. And
It seemed like 5 years, I'm sure.
it seemed like 5 years. There was a lot of us because we have a lot of animals, and at the time she had a lot of animals, and it was just
Including
I'm
her
pretty sure-
boyfriend.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a city ordinance against how many animals were in that house. I think we had like 5 dogs, 11 cats, 2 rabbits, and 4 people.
God.
Yeah, it was a lot. So anyways, we ended up getting pretty much a whole new house out of the deal. And so after we moved back in, we were like, okay, well, we've like dramatically increased the value of this house. And, we're kind of thinking we need something bigger because we only had 1 bathroom. And when you live with somebody like Chris,
Oh
having
God.
1 bathroom is
It's not acceptable.
no, not at all. Because, I mean, his shits are epic. They take like 100 years. So I was like, if that's the only reason that we need another house, that's reason enough. So, so we put the house up on the market, and like we had a terrible time trying to sell it. It just, everything that could go wrong went wrong. I mean, I know it was an old house. It was built in like the early 60s, but I mean, everything was essentially new. Everything. I mean, they stripped the house. They took it down to the frame. Everything. The electrical was new. Walls, floor, ceiling, roof, insulation, you name it. It was brand new. And
Mhm.
so I was not expecting all of these problems. And every time I thought we were getting close, like we'd be under contract, somebody would make an offer, something would fall through. And I'm like, this is the worst emotional roller coaster ever. Like I'm getting bipolar over here, like just up and down, up and down. And we were getting really close to the wedding. And I
Oh
knew
yeah,
I
fuck
shouldn't
that.
have- Yeah, I knew I shouldn't have like counted on the money from the house to pay for the wedding. But I mean, when we put the house up for sale, it was like 8 months before the wedding. I'm like, why shouldn't I? Because I mean, we stand to make like a $40,000 profit on this house. Why shouldn't I count on that money towards the wedding? It's 8 months away. Why? I mean, in this market and in this area, like, I mean, we sold our house for 139.9. There's nothing in this area that cheap. Nothing. Like, the people that got it, they got a steal. Like, they have no idea how lucky they are to have gotten that house. There was nothing else in their price range. So, so it was just one thing after another. And so we finally got these. It was like the 6th or 7th contract that we had signed. We got these people, and they just completely conned us. Like, oh my God, I can't even tell you how much I fucking hate these people.
What do
we
they
listed
do?
we listed the house as is. I said this is as is, no repairs to be made over $50, because that's what we had kept running into with the other people. They were pitching a fit about the septic
What
system.
repairs do you need? It just was rebuilt.
Well, they were pitching a fit about the septic system because the septic guy came out and he said this house is fine for 2 or 3 people living here, but if you have more than that, you're going to need to expand the septic system. And I'm like, okay, this is a starter house. It has 1 bathroom. If somebody thinks that they're going to move in here and have 3 kids, they're wrong, because
Yeah,
you
that's
just
their
can't
own
do that.
fault.
It's not feasible. And the people that were looking at buying it, people that did end up buying it, they don't have any kids. It's just the 2 of them. So why do they even care? If they end up having 1 kid, the guy told, I mean, they hired like EPA soil scientists to come out here and conduct all these fucking stupid ass tests.
Jesus.
I mean, it was ridiculous the amount of money that these people spent to get people out here to test all of this stuff. And so they ended up saying,
You
and
would
they
think
knew,
that they're going to build a meth lab and they needed it to be perfect.
right? And they knew that we were up against, because it was getting closer and closer to the wedding, and they knew that we were up against a time constraint because we needed to be out of this house into the new house on by a certain date, because like my bridal shower was supposed to be at our new house. So I'm fighting trying to get this house sold. I'm fighting with the builders of our new house, trying to get them to understand that you have to have it done by this date, because I have 50 people coming to this house for a shower on this date. We have to be in there. And I need like at least 24 hours to move all my stuff in and hang up pictures and get the boxes thrown away. Like, I'm not going to invite somebody over to my house and I haven't even moved in all the way. Like, I'm not some kind of animal. So I was just like, I was bridezilla-ing, if that's even a word. It is now. Bridezilla-ing hardcore. I was like, I will fight every one of you motherfuckers. You're ruining my wedding. You're
Yes,
ruining
I
my
can
life.
agree.
So these stupid bitches that bought my house, they were like, well, we're only going to buy it if you pay to have the septic lines expanded, which costs $3,000. $3,000. And the listing said no repairs over $50. So I was like, I'm sorry, can you not do simple math? This is a problem. Like, but what choice did I have? I had to do it because I can't. We were so far into this, I couldn't start over, because this was like, I don't know, early April. The wedding was on May 5th. I'm like, we can't start over. There's no way that we'll be, even if we start over today, somebody puts a contract on it today, it's not enough time to get through all the stuff you have to get through.
Yeah,
and
the
get
red
into the
tape.
house. So I was like, well, I guess we have to do it. So we did it. So we hired this dude to come out there, and he came out there and he was like, I feel bad taking your money because this does not need to be done. There's no reason that we should be doing this, digging it. And we had to get an easement from the neighbor because the yard wasn't big enough to get to add more field lines. We had to go into the neighbor's yard. And thank God he said yes, because
Right.
if he had said no, I don't know what would have happened. The wedding wouldn't have happened. The new house wouldn't have happened. I don't know. I'd be probably living in a box with, I don't know.
Someone would have died.
Someone
guarantee
would have
you that.
died. And so yeah, it was a fiasco. So we ended up paying for it, and these people just kicked and screamed and fought right up until like 25 minutes before we signed the papers to close the deal. They were just complete dickheads. And then come to find out, I go like 2-3 weeks after we sell the house, I go down to the vet's office here in town because I'm there quite often because I have like 11,000 animals.
Right.
And I walk in there and I had no idea who this person was because we never met him face to face, but by God, I knew the name. And there's a new girl at the front desk at the vet's office, and guess who it is? It's the girl that fucking bought my house.
Son of a bitch.
I was like, you stupid cunt, I will come across this counter. I will lay you flat in front of every cat and dog in here. Don't think I won't, stupid bitch. Anyways, but it all finally worked out, thank God, by the skin of my teeth. I got in the new house like 3 days before the shower and I got everything ready and it finally happened. So I was like, okay, we got a new house. Everything should be cool now, right? There should be no more like drama or anything crazy happening. Well, before the old house was just, it wasn't in a neighborhood, it was just out in the country. And this house is in a neighborhood, and I'm not a big fan of subdivision living. I'm just,
No, you have to park
it's,
on the street if there's more than 2 cars. That's
yeah,
unacceptable.
yeah, it is not my cup of tea at all. I've never lived in a, I don't really count my parents' house as a subdivision. I mean, it's in a
No.
subdivision, but they're the only house on their street and they're all the way in the back. I mean, and the houses aren't like right on top of each other like they are here. But the deal was too good to pass up because they were selling these houses dirt cheap and now they're selling them for not dirt cheap. So I was like, it's an investment. We have to
Yeah.
do it because, I mean, these houses are going up in value like $100,000. It's insane. So I'm like, we have to snag one of these up while they're cheap. So we did it. And so we moved in and I'm like, okay, it's surely it's not going to be that different. It's not a huge subdivision, but and there's no HOA, thank God, but it's just, I don't know. It's different. Like people are on our lawn like all the time. Like the kids next door, like they don't know where the property line is. They're always in our yard, crossing over the line and playing kickball and shit. And people walking their dogs and, they shit in the front yard and they just keep walking. And I'm like, excuse me? Like, I just want to sit on my front porch and drink and mind my own business without 1,000 people bothering me. You can't even just sit out there and have a nice afternoon. People are on my grass, like on my lawn all the time. Like the kids next door, I don't expect them to know like exactly where the property line is. They're like playing kickball. They're spilling over into our yard. People walking their dogs and their dogs are shitting in our front yard and they just keep.
Okay, as I'm sure you've noticed from that abrupt ending, something horrible, technology-wise, whatever, had occurred here. That is the case. What happened was our buddy over at the 5-Star Show was going to see some sort of sporting event. He said game. I don't know whether that's football, hockey, tetherball, whatever he's into. And he got all tipsy and decided he was going to call up to the Remember That One Time podcast and see what we're up to. And we were in the middle of fucking recording is what we're up to. And when he called, what he ended up doing was knocking CJ off of our Skype call that we used to record our podcast with. And we didn't realize that he had knocked her off that call. And we just continued talking and going on our merry way for another probably good half hour to 45 minutes, which, it was probably a blessing in disguise because this podcast needed to be split into anyways. So what I'm saying is this is going to be, Remember That One Time We Bought a House Part 1. And then next 2 weeks, next episode is going to be Remember That One Time We Bought a House Part 2. Or I can label them Remember That One Time Chris Bought a House and Remember That One Time CJ Bought a House. Whatever. So that is why our podcast this week abruptly ended. But to make up for it, I am going to give you a little goodie. We had some outtakes from the beginning of recording this. We start recording and then I edit out some of the stuff before we actually start getting into the meat of our podcast. And this was some stuff that I would normally edit out, but I decided to go ahead and give you guys some goodies, to make up for our horrible podcasting. It's something I'm bad at, apparently. So without further ado, enjoy some outtakes. Have a wonderful rest of your time, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Suck on your wine bottle. Fuck it.
What is he bitching about in the background now?
I have no idea. I wasn't really listening.
Isn't that usually the other way around? The wife is bitching about something and the husband's like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah, pretty much.
Typically. That's not how we roll.
Is there blue paint in my hair? That is
There
what
ain't
I
no-
would like to know.
There's no telling where have you been around blue paint? In the office?
No.
All right.
I
Well,
don't really know.
did you paint your nails?
Nope.
All right. There's no telling.
Alright.
Did you just shit on me, asshole? I have the bird on my shoulder. It's not Ethan. That'd be weird.
Oh, I mean, that's a thing that I ask Chris sometimes when he farts. I'm like, did you just shit on me?
Nice. No, Stark is sitting on my shoulder. I told him to keep quiet, but if you do hear an occasional gimme kiss or what sounds like a duck squawk, yep.
A duck squawk.
Yeah, he goes
like it.
quack, quack
Quack.
all the time.
Nice.
You gonna say hi? Hi, Stark. Give me a kiss. No, nothing. I get him near the microphone and he pretends like he's never. There he is.
Mhm.
Kiss.
Oh.
Oh, he's giving it kisses now. That's fun. Okay. Enough of you.
This concludes our broadcast day. Good night, and God bless America.